tell you, your ass looks amazing. And I don't know if it's the jeans or what, but you walked over there to hit the record on the end. I was like,
you like my mom jeans.
I like that mom ass. That's what I like.
Okay.
What I like.
Thank you, sir, but okay.
Well, I missed you last week.
I have to commend you for flying solo. I don't know how you did that. I know how you did it because I know how you did it. You're amazing, my love. But I gotta.
I missed you so much, and I mean, could I do a podcast by myself? Yes, I could, but it would be a completely different podcast. And I love what me and you have, and I hope. Because sometimes in the...
I didn't read the comments. Were they all like, we love the podcast without Renae?
No, people definitely said, hey, great job, but we missed Renae. But it's funny because in the beginning of this podcast, people came on board because they were a fan of my stand-up. And then they go, well, we just like you.
Yeah. And they were like, she's not funny. And I was like, I know I'm not funny. I'm not a stand-up comedian.
But I think what we have grown here... And what we do has now become what we do.
Yeah.
So I think that people saw me do it by myself. And could I do one by myself? Sure. But what we have is special. And what this podcast specifically is, there is no podcast without Captain Evil. Yeah. So I missed you desperately. And just so, and I'll start the conversation off because I know it's going to be hard for you. But we want to address why Captain Evil wasn't here, and also I believe in the power of prayer.
Yeah.
And I think that if we put this out to the world, that it'll help with thoughts and prayers, because I do think that thoughts and prayers do make a difference and do matter.
I just have to. I got so many sweet messages about being absent last week, and a lot of love and support that I needed. I needed it last week, and it's what you said. This podcast is something different, and it's something very special. And I'm not just the brunt of the joke anymore. There's a community that's come from this, and. Debbie Ray and Marlies in South Africa, and I'm not going to remember everybody's name, but just sent me a lot of support sweet messages of support. I can't even say it because I'm getting emotional, when I needed it, and I appreciate it, and I'm grateful for it.
It has been a rough couple of weeks, like I said on the podcast last week, and part of the reason is because Renae's father,
my dad, got some scary health news,
and it was one of those things that was very, very scary. And then Monday we got the actual diagnosis, which was Monday, Halloween, and we'll go back to that. But the good news is that we're now at MD Anderson.
Yeah, my brother got him an appointment at MD Anderson, and we feel like it's such a blessing. Everyone keeps saying it's the best place to get treatment, and I think we believe it. We're hopeful.
But again, it is so crazy how this world works. And I've talked about it on here before, where things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
And, yes, I went down for Eric's funeral, and I reconnected with one of my cousins. And Fidel has always been my older cousin, somebody I always looked up to. And he has gone on to live in Houston, and we don't get to catch up with him. Or you've never even met him.
Yeah, no, I don't know him.
So, it was nice to see my cousin. All of a sudden, we're sitting there talking, and I'm explaining to him the situation with your father. And he goes, Steve, my wife, who also went to Gregory Portland, Tara, works at MD Anderson. And he goes, and she'll be happy to help with any questions, anything you guys need. So I just want to tell Fidel and Tara, thank you so very much for that support. But we got her father into MD Anderson. We got some positive news, and that positive news is that we're going to make this. We're going to be able to get this under control.
We're still waiting on tests, which is the anxious part. But at least now we know that there is treatment, and at MD Anderson there are clinical trials that he might be eligible for too. So it's the best place for him to get treatment, and he's strong, and he's going to get it.
Oh, dude, he's Daddy Raymond. Nobody's stopping Daddy Raymond.
No.
And he's going to be okay. And your thoughts and prayers are very, very welcomed. And it was funny because, this is the first time that in our lives that me and you together are dealing with something really heavy like that. He got the diagnosis on Monday, which was Halloween, and I was at the at my charity Helicopters for Hero charity golf tournament, and then Renae calls me up and she goes, "I'm going home right now. I got to be with my dad." She goes, "What do you think?" And I go, "I think you should go." And then you were like, "Well, I don't know if I should go." And then, well, what about Halloween tonight? And I'm like, well, again, and I don't know if I talked about it the last episode, and Rick can stop me if I did, but again, when people say I had to be strong for my kids,
Yeah.
that was the first time I didn't want to go trick or treating.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get dressed up. I didn't want to hang out with our couple friends without you.
Yeah.
And with that news. But I also didn't want to not give Delilah her first real Halloween.
Yeah.
I didn't want Garrett was, of course, I mean, he's at that age where trick or treating's everything.
Well, I've made such a big deal out of Halloween because I love it so much. So I was so torn between.
And then it was funny because you call me and you're like, well, maybe I should just stay here for Halloween. Because we were actually going the next day to go to the funeral anyway. And then I go, well, we'll stay home, do Halloween with us. And we're going to be there tomorrow. I'm already an hour almost from home. And I'm like, well, then why the fuck are you asking me? But in that situation,
I just felt like I needed to be there for my mom and my dad and my brother. And that was important to me. And there will be more Halloweens.
You wanted to hug him.
Yeah.
And see him. And again, like I have said through this entire ordeal, there is no wrong answer.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to go home, you go home. If you want to be at MD Anderson with your father every day, you go do it. Because there is no, and by the way, if you want to stay home and be there for your kids, that's not the wrong answer either, right? So, this is one of those situations where, I didn't have the answers and you didn't have the answers. However, there is no wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
And then later that night she's like, "I'm coming home." I'm like, well, okay. And then we get in the car and we really had a good marital moment, where you go, you told me, "I really wanted you to guide me." You remember?
Yeah.
You go, "I just really wanted you to guide me." And I said, well, I also don't want you to feel like I'm telling you what to do.
Well, it's just so hard. You get news like that and it's paralyzing and you don't know which way you're supposed to go.
Well, but
I love you and I trust you and I feel like you obviously know me better than anyone else. So I felt like, tell me which way I'm supposed to go until my body figures it out and catches up.
So our solution was that I would share with you what I think you should do.
Yeah.
And I told you that whatever you do, there is no wrong answer. I will tell you what I think that we need to do and what we should do. I've heard the phrase in my life several times that you have to live for the living. And I believe that. I believe that life is short and we cannot spend our life sulking or being sad when somebody passes away or when somebody gets sick, right?
Yeah.
So, and I said pass away. I mean, pass on is the word I like to use. But, I think through this whole ordeal, I will give you my opinion. I will tell you what I think we should do. But ultimately, whatever
I'm
you
Captain
do,
Evil and I'll do whatever I want anyway.
well, that's always been that has always been the case. But I will say that I have been through it.
Yeah.
My father survived cancer.
Yeah.
My stepmother survived cancer.
Both got treatment at MD Anderson.
Both got treatment at MD Anderson. I will say that one of the doctors that my dad dealt with was a pompous fucking prick. And I almost got kicked out of the hospital because I called him out for being a pompous fucking prick.
Yeah.
But 90% of the people that I dealt with at MD Anderson were complete class acts. Very sympathetic, very sweet,
compassionate
and caring, except for that one fucking doctor. But ultimately, we don't want to sit here and spend 30, 40 minutes on this podcast talking about the sad part, because we are in a good place.
Yeah.
We got positive news from MD Anderson, and we will keep you guys posted as things move forward. And the fact that you guys care so much for us is just really, really cool.
Yeah.
And you're right. This has become a community. And one of the guys was like, "Hey man, we're all a family here, and if we need to help, let us know." And I just thought, wow, man, you know, we are hopefully building a community of do-gooders.
Yeah.
You know, of people that do want to help, and hopefully, you know, and I try to be very specific about the things that I do bring on this podcast. You know, like Steve Cardenas and Jennifer Cardenas, you know, things that are very real and honest. I mean, if I talked about every tragedy of everybody I knew, we wouldn't get anywhere. But when we need you guys, we will ask. And right now, I will say that your continued support, the comments, it really means.
We feel it. I feel it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And you needed it.
Yeah.
You needed it. And you know, I also think that sometimes these are wake-up calls to enjoy life.
Yeah.
To know that life is short. To realize that, hey man, you know, tomorrow is not promised, right?
Yeah.
But the good news is that we plan on spending Thanksgiving together.
We're gonna have a big old Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So we just wanted to make sure that we didn't keep you guys in the dark. We wanted to be honest and open with what's happening. Renae, you're very strong. Good job. Renae was like, I don't know if I want to say anything. I'm not going to make it. But you made it.
Yeah.
And we did it. So this weekend, well, and not to go bring it all back to what I said we weren't going to talk about. You know, I did convince you to continue with our plans for my show in Austin.
Yeah, I just felt like, you know, I was with them in Houston this week and I was spending time away from the kids. And what I really wanted was just to be in my pajamas and put my children to bed. But I think I did need to be pushed and nudged and forced to
get dressed
out,
go out, have a good time. But I will say that I think that's one of the biggest struggles in a marriage, in my opinion.
Is that I want to be at home in my pajamas with my children?
Well, part of it, right, is when you have, like, me and you are a team. Me and you, you know, it's so funny that if I'm out alone with our friends, they go, it's not the same. It's Renae and Steve, you know.
Yeah.
So we really have, and you know, you're my. I
was gonna say, I think it's the same way too. When they get me, they're like, "Oh, no, Steve."
Yeah, where's the shitty comments? Where's the dirty comments? But we are definitely a team, and you know, once we had kids, and once COVID happened, and all this we've been going through, I've been missing you, and I've been missing us, going out, having drinks together.
Well, that happens when you have a little one. They're like,
it's hard.
There are phases in a marriage, you know.
Absolutely.
Like someone asked me if I wanted to join a book club, and I was like, no, I'm not in the book club phase right now. I'm chasing around a 2-year-old. Like, eventually I'll join your book club, but not now.
But it's like me with golf, right? Hey, man, you want to come golfing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't have fucking time to golf with you for 5 hours. I got kids. I got shit to do. I got, you know.
Yeah. And not that you won't one day. I just feel like, you know.
Yeah, but I still,
at the moment.
I still think no matter what phase you're in, that a husband and wife should find that time to enjoy just each other's company.
For sure. They say, like, do a weekly date night, right? We don't do a weekly date night. We do a weekly podcast.
But you know, but yes, we do the weekly podcast. We get to connect. Me and you are always talking about life and our future and what we got going on. But lately, we haven't gone out and had fun together. And laugh together and drink together and celebrate together. And, you know.
Well, that's hard too, because your job is fun, but it's still work, you know? And
it's definitely work.
There are still responsibilities that come with that. And
it's
tricky.
It is tricky and it is hard. So, you know, when you were like, well, I don't want to go Saturday, you know, for me, the Paramount Theater is huge to me because when I first started in this business, I was on tour with this tour called the Three Amigos Tour, and they filmed a movie of the set.
Yeah.
And I got to warm the crowd up. I wasn't in the movie, but I got to warm the crowd up at the Paramount. That was almost 25 years ago or 22 years ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I just remember being in the Paramount Theater like, one day, oh my gosh, one day I will get to be at the Paramount Theater. And that one day was coming, and I wanted to be there with my wife.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be there alone. I wanted to celebrate that with you. And not to mention, Austin is one of those towns that, number one, we hadn't performed in pre-COVID. It was the last time. And number two, we're doing the freaking Paramount. And then I have all these friends and family that I haven't seen in forever that want to come out and I want to see and hang out with. And, you know, some GP Wildcats came out that I hadn't seen in forever. You know, Mario Guerra and his family and his wife and Jason Peterson and Adam Russell. I mean, that guy I hadn't seen in forever. So damn proud of him. He's now a Texas Ranger. So, and that's another thing. I'm so proud of the GP Wildcats and all the things that we've done.
Yeah, someone said, you know who it was? It was the winner, because the Pick Cherries winner.
Oh, we'll talk about her too.
From the contest came Shannon Scott, and Shannon said, and she said, I feel like I'm at his high school reunion backstage.
Well, they were, you know, they have such a good attitude, and they were so happy to be there.
Yeah.
And so, by the way, our sponsor, Pick Cherries, download it. But more importantly, we flew them in from New York.
Yeah, so they live in upstate New York.
They won a contest, and we flew them in, got them a hotel. They hung out with us all night.
They went okay, Shannon had never been on a plane. Shannon, sorry, I'm going to tell everyone your story because I just thought it was so fun and cool. But Shannon had never been on a plane, got to Austin and went zip-lining, and came to your show at the Paramount.
Oh, they loved it. And we love them. And they're just, you know, they were so appreciative and so sweet. And we just loved hanging out with them.
Yeah.
You know, and she's definitely a Captain Evil. Like, definitely, like, you could tell her husband's like, he's just like, whatever she wants, man. Like, whatever she wants to do, you know. So it was just so if you go right now, the next giveaway that we're doing is Vegas.
Yes, there's another contest, but it's the deadline. It's been running for a while, but we were so busy promoting the special, we haven't really talked about it. Pick Cherries is doing the same thing. 2-night stay, flights, meals covered.
Backstage with us.
Yes, at your show in Vegas on December 8th.
So go sign up.
But I think it's going to end soon.
So go sign up
you
right now.
You have to download the Pick Cherries app, and then you go to the website and you say, hey, I filled it out. And then if they actually share a clip with our podcast, they get an extra entry into the contest.
Let's go. Come on. Come join me and Renae. We'd love to have you in Vegas. But it was just a special moment, the Paramount. And I mean, I walked out on that stage and much like the Majestic in Dallas, and I got to be honest with you, Renae, there's a little bit of me that I cannot believe it's happening to me.
Yeah.
You know, and I've always dreamt it, and I've always wanted it to happen, and I've worked very hard for it to happen.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of me that's like, this is not my life. I cannot believe that these people, and I fucking hate no meet and greet. I hate it.
Well, and you know what? We had planned to have one, but
the theater went. The fucking downtown Austin's a disaster.
We had to push the second show later, and even so, we played the intro video that we've talked about before the first show, and then made the decision that it was not going to play before the second show because the turnaround was too fast, and then getting everyone in and out of the theater and the parking and all of that, we had to end up pushing the show to start later anyway. So I was like, we should have played the damn video so that at least they would have been entertained sitting there, you know.
But there is, I'm not kidding you, man. There's a feeling of this can't be me. This can't be my life. This can't be. These people cannot be lined up around the block for me, and it is just a very surreal feeling.
Yeah.
You know, and there's also a feeling of I'm not good enough. I really have that feeling.
What?
Yes.
No, everyone said it was such an incredible show.
You know, I mean, I hope, and you know, and then second show, like I'm doing my act, and we're doing the show, everybody's laughing, all of a sudden, yeah, woo! And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Well, the Astros won the World Series.
Yes.
And so then
You had to acknowledge it because
I was
otherwise
like,
all the
fuck,
dudes were going to be down checking their phone.
Well, and I was already kind of thinking about it, and Jake and I we were watching it backstage, right?
Uh-huh.
And then, so when that happened, I go, ladies and gentlemen, you're 2022.
I know, it was so funny because some of the women told me, they were like, for a second, I didn't know what was happening. Like, I didn't know what he was talking about. Like, and I was connected the dots.
It was really, it was bittersweet for me because I had tickets to Game 7. Well, of course, I couldn't make Friday. I couldn't make Saturday because I was working. But I did have tickets to go to Game 7. I had tickets to go to any game I wanted, but we kind of had an issue, a family issue, and then the Friday, Saturday game, I was working.
Yeah.
So then they were like, well, if they go to Game 7, you get to go. And then I wanted to bring Garrett because Garrett's now at the age where that kid, everything's Astros right now. I mean, every shirt he wears is Astros.
Well, his teacher's a huge Astros fan too, so all his class wears their Astros gear.
I'm going to be like Peña, and I'm going to be like Peña. I mean, so he's all about it. So I was also very excited to possibly be able to take
Garrett,
my son to a World Series game. You know, me and Dad did it, so it would have been good for me and my son to do it, right? But the show was just, again, like there is a little bit of me that's like, oh my God, this is happening to me.
Yeah,
like this is real, you know, and it is a little. I always talk about it. I was talking to Dave J, the opening act, you know, and Dave and I have really great conversations. He's a very introspective guy. Is that a good word?
Yeah, he's very like chill, even keel. He doesn't get
too excited, but he also likes to talk about deep stuff.
Yeah,
you know, and he's overcome a lot in his life. Like he is a true success, an American success story. Truly, you know. But I was telling him, I go, you know, I said, it's weird because he came into my life in a transitional period. You know, and I always talk about you're constantly changing identities. You know?
You talk about you so identified with being the underdog.
I was the underdog forever. I was the scrapper. I haven't made it yet. I haven't got my due.
And then you're like, wait, I have to quit talking about myself like that. I'm not.
Right.
I'm not that anymore.
And then I went to.
But what am I?
Right. Then I went to. Oh my gosh, we're selling tickets. We're doing great in the comedy clubs. Oh my gosh, I'm making some money. Is it gonna last? You know, is it gonna last? Am I gonna always be in the comedy clubs? Am I always gonna sell this many tickets? And then now it's like, holy shit! Now we're selling out theaters. And I'm walking into venues, and they're like, Mr. Trevino, Mr. Trevino, Mr. Trevino, Mr. Trevino. And then we walked through the Spurs game yesterday, which I want to thank Ben and Beth. And all of a sudden, the camera guys at the Spurs game are like, hey, Steve, what's up, big fan? Hey, Steve, what's up, big fan? And then, I mean, and it's just, it's a turning of the page and a different identity. And there really has been some real growing pains.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know how to embrace it. I don't know.
I was going to say, what are the growing pains?
I still have the fear that I'm going to lose it all. I still inside of me have this fear that one day I'm going to show up at a show and nobody's going to come.
Yeah.
Right? Which is why I am the way I am with my money, where I'm always making sure that the family's taken care of and that we don't overspend and that we don't live outside our means. And because I still have this really huge fear of, am I going to be in theaters forever? Or do I need to prepare?
Well, I think we know, right? A career does this.
Not for comedians. Comedians just continue to do that. And I mean, Jeff Foxworthy's been doing theaters and arenas for 20 years.
Yeah.
Gabriel Iglesias has been doing theaters and arenas for 15 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I do have this feeling of like, oh my gosh, is it all going to end? Are people just going to get over it?
Yeah.
You know, because you have guys like Dane Cook, for example, who, God, that guy was top of the mountain, selling out arenas on HBO.
Yeah.
You know, movie after movie after movie. And now I know he still sells tickets. I also still think that Dane Cook is very funny,
Yeah.
but he's not Dane Cook.
Oh, but he like exploded in the crazy way.
It was huge.
Yeah.
You know, but I do know that Dane Cook went through that here.
Yeah.
But here's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not like Dane Cook does not sell tickets, right? And by the way, I say Dane Cook's name right now, and nobody out there is going, who? Who the fuck's he?
Yeah.
We all know who he is.
Yeah.
You know, so, and it's also a different feeling.
What's a different feeling?
The stage that I'm at. You know, like for example, in the green room, everybody's just looking at me. Everybody.
Yeah.
Like I'm standing in the corner in the kitchen hanging out, and everybody's like, "What's Steve gonna say? What's he gonna do?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you see people that are friends of friends, like with their camera out, like waiting for their moment to go. Can I get a picture? And then my goal is to make them feel comfortable and make them feel like, of course, like, yes, I'll take a picture with you, no problem, right?
Yeah.
But it's different. It's a different feeling. It's a different. I don't know, man. It's just different.
Yeah.
You know, and we got to Wichita Falls, Texas.
How was that? It was such a quick trip. You literally like drove in, did the show, and then drove back.
It was amazing. I mean, Wichita Falls, I had never been there before, and great staff and great theater, and you know. But it was funny because we get there and I wanted to eat some barbecue. I forget the name of the barbecue place, but again, as soon as I walk in, and oh shit, Steve Trevino's here, and I heard you, like I heard you say that. How about just say hi? Yeah. But like I'll walk by and they're like, that was Steve Trevino, and I'm like, just say hi, man. Like, you know, but I get back. We leave the restaurant. We're parked up front, and this couple comes out, and they're like, "Hey, can we get a picture?" And I go, "Yeah, of course." So we take the picture, and then I get in the minivan rental, and they were like, "You're in a minivan?" And I'm like, "Sorry, yeah, I'm in a fucking minivan. Like, that's what Timmy rented, a fucking minivan." But there's definitely but I think that married couples go through that too. Is an identity change.
Yeah.
You know, first we were the young married couple having fun, doing our thing. And then all of a sudden,
There's
crap.
a kid.
Well, no, then we have to get married.
Oh.
Right? Okay, well, now life's getting serious. And where are we going to get married? And
I mean, we were together for so long. That one didn't feel that different.
Yeah.
By the time we got
kids
married,
was a big one too, of an identity change. Right?
By the time we got married, I feel like it wasn't an identity change for us. It was sort of an acknowledgement from our families and the way now our families treated us different because we took that step. Don't you?
Yeah, no. I wish I would have got married sooner. You know, being married is a different thing.
Yeah.
I always thought, well, what's the difference? It's the same. We live together. We're already dating. What's the difference? And then we got married, and I was like, oh, there is a difference. There is it's just different.
Yeah.
You know, in our parents' eyes, in our family's eyes, in our eyes. I mean, there's just it's just different.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there's like I guess it didn't feel that different to me, but there is, once you're actually officially married, there's this feeling of, oh, there's no backing out.
Yeah, this is it. We have a contract. We signed a contract.
Yeah.
But there, the funny part, and I don't know why I'm going back to me, but I don't feel any different. I don't feel successful. I don't feel
yes, you do.
rich, if you will. I don't feel like a celebrity. I don't. Well,
because who knows what that's supposed to feel like?
How did
you say you don't feel successful? Look around.
I just feel like me. I just feel like I just keep working and I work very hard to have a great life and be with my wife and my kids and be on stage, and I just keep doing it.
But that's like saying a neighbor down the street whose business is doing well doesn't feel successful. Like, sure he does. Sure you do.
You know what? This is a good question for Rick. Rick is extremely successful.
Yes.
And right now, Right. and right now, especially,
Yeah.
Rick's hard work has paid off.
Uh-huh.
And now he is rich and successful. Do you feel any different, Rick?
Yeah, I don't want to look people in the eyes. You have to look down when you walk by me.
Well, nobody can look at you in the fucking eyes, dude. You're 6'8".
That's a good point. That's a solid point. No, but here's the thing, and this is like because I knew you in 2003, the first time, So to see your career take off like it has, I felt weird calling you after. We're exiting after the first show. I felt weird calling you to tell you how impressed I was that the line was around the block. And I'm like, ooh, should I be calling him? As opposed to just like, hey, I'm going to call Steve. It's like, oh, celebrity Steve. Should I be wasting his time?
You know what? It's funny you say that because, I think that is the key, right?
Uh-huh.
Where people go, Steve, you changed.
No, you
changed towards me.
Yeah.
You the way you look at me and the way that you see me has changed. I haven't changed.
Yeah.
You changed towards me.
Great point.
Yeah.
That's a great point. It's interesting too because I brought Eric, Christine, and Gigi down, and you are so warm with everyone in there. Even though everyone's looking at you, you have that quality that we've all talked about with Pitbull. It's like you meet one person and you're that one person in the room when you're with that person, and it's just such a special thing to see.
But I also think that I have a genuine.
You like people.
I love people, and I find people very interesting.
Yeah.
And when I'm talking to somebody, I genuinely want to talk to them. I don't want to move on. I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be disrespectful. Like John, for example. John has this very warm, comfortable ease about him.
Yes.
So when I see him, I also feel that. And
Yeah.
it's nice to feel that. Like when I'm with John and I hug John and I say hi, his comfortableness
It's calming.
is calming and,
Yeah.
it rubs off on me. And I also enjoy that. And then you got, Stu from Cherries, who is, smiling and
Exudes positive
energy
Yeah.
and winner, and he's got this like let's go get him feeling, and I
Yeah.
like that feeling too. Adam Russell, who I hadn't seen in 20 years, who's now a Texas Ranger, there was something really calming and confident about him that wasn't there.
Grounding. Yeah.
Grounding that wasn't there before when we were kids, but so. I love it. I think it's so much fun. To me, it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's a party, and let's have a
You
good
really
time.
do feed off of people's energy.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. But back, you never answered the question, Rick. Do you feel different?
No, but with age, you feel different. Like if this success came to you at 22, I don't think you'd be handling it the way you have now. You are who you are now, and I am who I am. So you're older, a little bit older now. You see what's important. Fame and money let you do things, but it's not the most important thing.
Well, I will say that and maybe you agree, Rick, and you too, Renae, because we did it together. There is for the first time in my life, for the past few years, there has been a real sense of like, financially, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
When before it was like, I don't know if we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like we're working hard and we're doing what we got to do.
We're chasing this dream, hoping it's going to pay off, but
Yeah.
there's no certainty that it will.
But holy crap, there was times that Renae and I were living check to check. There was times when Renae and I, basically, if I didn't make that next gig, we weren't going to make it. And that feeling of...
There was a time when you had Bell's palsy and only half your face worked and you still had to go on stage.
Yes. But do you feel a little bit more secure in that way, Rick?
Yeah, but like you always feel like it's going to get taken away from you.
Yeah, 1,000%. 1,000%. You always feel like, oh shit, I'm one step away from all of it going away. Right?
But don't you think that's a lot of professions?
Yeah, but you
I
know,
mean, maybe not all of
and
them.
I don't want to
but-
mention any names because I don't know if they're okay with me mentioning their name or even if this is something that might hurt their feelings. But I have friends that I look at who don't need anything.
What do you mean they don't need anything? Like what?
They don't need success. They don't need money. They don't need a big house. They don't need things on the walls. I have friends that just go through life and they're just very content, and they don't have this anxiety to succeed. They don't have this insecurity. They don't have this,
And that's okay too.
That's
if
what I
they're
mean.
Happy.
And
if they're happy and content.
I admire that about them.
Yeah.
I remember my father was when he worked, very, very well respected in the refinery business. So much so that my dad was the general foreman forever for a contracting company. And that contractor that owned that company actually came to my dad and said, "Hey, I want to help you own a business too, because you know everybody, you can hire and fire, your business." And I remember this man coming to sit down with my dad and me being there, and this man explaining to my dad, like, "Hey man, I'll help you get the contracts. You break me off 10%, you can be a millionaire."
Yeah.
And my dad sat there and listened, and the guy left, and I go, "Dad, let's be millionaires." And my dad goes, "No." I go, "Dad, why wouldn't you take this opportunity?" And my dad goes, "Because I know exactly how much I make every week, and I clock in and I clock out." He goes, "And if I own a business, there's no clocking out. I don't know how much money I'm going to make. I probably won't be able to coach Little League. I probably won't have weekends off. I like my life." And there's something really special about that as well.
Yeah.
Right? Where my dad goes, "No, I like making a paycheck. I like clocking out. I go to my job. I do my job. I do it well. I get paid. I'm out at this time.
Yeah.
I have these weekends off. I have my vacation set.
Yeah.
I know how much money I'm going to make. I have a budget."
I think it's a personality type.
Yep. What do you think about that, Rick?
Yeah, but there's still a fear of paycheck to paycheck when you're an employee too. So it's just a different type of fear. And I always felt like I was going to get fired every week. So I was like, I just got to go off on my own, do it on my own.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah.
But when you're my dad, he knows he's not getting fired because he knows his shit, right?
Yeah.
But there's also my dad used to say, "I have a budget. I know how much I need to save. I know how much I can spend on a house. I know how much,
Yeah.
the guy had a budget,
Yeah.
But there is a real feeling of, especially in Austin, when Rick called and said, "Oh my God, there's a line around the building." There's a
Yeah.
little me of like, "Really? For who?"
Adrian did too.
Like-
Adrian sent me a video of the line.
It's really cool. And
By the way, sorry to interrupt, but by the way, it was around the block the first time. I've seen that. It was when we turned the block again is where I felt like I had to call you.
but it's again, like, guys, there's a little bit of me that's like, why me? I mean, I've always had the attitude of why not me, but
because you're funny.
But it is a really cool feeling,
Yeah.
and
You're funny and you've worked hard. Settle in, Steve.
and it's like Mario and Jason Peterson, and these are guys that I grew up with and I've known my entire life, I hadn't seen those guys in forever. That's why I'm specifically mentioning them. To see them genuinely really happy and proud of me feels good too. And they're very hardworking and successful in their own right.
Yeah.
But when those guys come and go, "Dude, this is great, Steve, and good for you." Like, it feels good, and it's really cool to have that feeling, right? Of wow, man, this was, and I feed off of energy, and man, I was so amped up that night and ready to go, and
Yeah.
and I had my beautiful wife with me, and I don't think it would have been the same night without you. You know, and I felt that Halloween. I mean, Halloween, when you were not there, I was not myself.
Yeah.
And I think Lori, who's sitting here, will tell you I just was not me.
Yeah.
I was there and I was doing what I needed to do. And I love the people that we hang out with, you know, but it's not the same without my wife, you know, and you know, not to get mushy with you.
Uh-huh.
But as we get older and as your father's going through what he's going through, I can't imagine having to go through that as a couple.
Yeah.
And having that feeling of what would I do without my spouse? Because I don't know what I would do. And you know, when you talk to my dad goes, I have to go first because I cannot live without Sarah.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't understand that before. Now I'm like, oh wow, I understand.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's life is very deep,
Yeah.
you know, and gosh, and your parents, I mean, together since
They're high school sweethearts.
high school sweethearts, like that's
But
insane.
since my mom was like, I don't know, 13, 14.
Well, Gabe and Lori might as well be damn high school sweethearts. They
Yeah.
were young,
Yeah.
you know, and you look at y'all's relationship, Lori, where you guys are like this. I mean, you're always together, always going on adventures. You know,
Yeah.
Lori's got her little fucking plan, and we're going to Enchanted Rock, and we're going to go do beer drinking here. And, you know, and as you get older, you go, man. And then you hear about these couples that she dies, and then months later, he dies.
Yeah.
Or he dies, and then a month later, she dies, right?
Yeah.
Because there is something special that you have,
Yeah.
you know. And it's just, it's one of those things, too, where you look at life and you go, man, you know, life is short. And I just want to have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
I love to have fun. You know, you don't, but I do. Renee's always shitting on my fun.
I'm not always shitting on your fun.
I have energy for everything. Like I'm
not always shitting on your fun.
you know, so Ben
I
and
just like my pajamas.
Ben and Beth invited us to the Spurs game last night, the Monday night game, and I was having too much fun. I was like, oh man, we better go. Because I'm having fun, man. We had a good time.
Yeah.
And again, you know, Ben and Beth are like us, right? Where they have been together forever.
Yeah.
They have a great, funny relationship.
Yeah.
They talk shit to it. She's funny.
She's very funny. She's hilarious.
She was cracking us up.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Renee's having comments. And we just had a really good couples
It's good to laugh. It was good to laugh.
night out and rooting for the Spurs. And
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good date night out. So I'm excited that me and you have, like, that's what I needed with my wife.
Yeah.
I needed Saturday with my wife, and then I needed last night with my wife.
Yeah.
You know, and I got it. So now we can wait till Vegas.
Which is in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited. We haven't even figured out logistically what the fuck is going on.
We have not figured out Vegas logistics. It's already November 8th when we're recording this, and we have like a pie contest to do too for Thanksgiving.
We do. And I need to talk to Charlie and Amy as to, because
Do you want to get pied in the face again this year? We're doing it, right?
I mean, I think we should.
Okay.
The problem is that we got to call Sonia. Sonia left Camp
They're not in
Pendleton.
San Diego anymore. Yeah.
And I don't know if her husband is where he's stationed or is he out or what. We got to find out. And then I was talking to Charlie, and Charlie said that, motherfucker, there's a new guy at Lackland Air Force Base that doesn't want to do it. The guy in charge at Lackland Air Force Base does not want us to feed the troops. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So we need to get with Charlie and Amy and figure it out. I don't know what to do. I mean, it's I don't know.
Okay.
You know, so
get on it. We'll
we
figure it
gotta
out.
we gotta figure it out.
Yeah.
We're doing so good with Helicopters for Heroes.
Yeah.
We are going to raise more money than we've ever raised before. So I'm happy that we're doing that.
Yeah.
But at least we're continuing to do the Helicopters for Heroes and raise money for veterans and do all of that. However, you know, the pie contest has been fun. But I feel like
Until you have to take a pie in the face. He gets real
What would you know?
grumpy.
What would you know about
when it
taking?
comes time to take a pie to the face?
What would you know about taking?
I
up-
wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't.
She in the what 3 years?
I wouldn't. This
Have we done it 3
face
times?
has never been pied.
Have we done it 3 times?
Has it been 2 or 3 times?
2 or 3.
Although Garrett's really gunning to pie me in the face. Garrett really, really wants to pie me in the face.
He's so funny, dude. He's doing so good too, and we are gonna move on to travel ball with Garrett.
Yeah.
And he says, so I asked him about it. I go, hey man, that's what we're doing, bro. And he's like, oh, so I'm on the team? I'm like, no, motherfucker, you got to try out too.
But what'd you say? You got to audition.
Audition, yeah. I'm so used to Hollywood bullshit. But it was funny because Travis, he was like, Garrett doesn't have to try out, right? And I'm like, the fuck he doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't care if he's my son. He's going to try out.
The experience of going through the motions and the nerves and the am I gonna make it? How good are these other kids?
He needs to try out.
Yeah.
Just because he's my son, bullshit. You're gonna earn your position.
Yeah.
Bottom line, end of story.
Yeah.
Well, and that was another thing that was fun about Saturday. A lot of the relationships that we've developed here in New Braunfels, a lot of them had never seen me perform. They know me.
Yeah.
They knew me before they knew me as a comedian.
Yes.
And then for them to be able to go to the show and,
Yeah, someone said it was really cool to see you and Steve in your element.
Brady's dad, Nick, came up to me and he was like, dude, it's even funnier because I know how you are with Garrett. I know how you are with, he's like, I know all the characters. He's like, it was really, really fucking funny.
Yeah.
To see it. I mean, that's
to
a
see
whole,
how real life translates.
Right.
into
That's
the
a whole
show.
nother angle of it. And also for the people that see me and wonder, well, is he really that hard on his son? Is it really like that? Is his dad like that? The people that know.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh no, Steve's hard on him.
Renee's not really like that. The people
Bullshit.
who know.
Bullshit.
We have to wrap up and thank the rest of our sponsors.
We don't have to do anything.
Well, we don't have to do anything, but we
We don't have to wrap
should.
up. People love
We
us.
should.
They love you. And they
I
missed
felt
you.
loved. I felt very, very loved.
Aztec Chevrolet, one of our sponsors, always been a sponsor. God, I love those guys so much. And it's amazing the relationship that I have developed with the guys at Aztec Chevrolet. A friendship that'll last forever.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't sponsor anymore, I would still be friends with those guys because they are such class acts. They've just been taking care of us and taking care of our friends and our family. And it's just been an amazing, amazing relationship. Our friends at Old Salt Coffee, boy, they're getting big. They're blowing up. I can't talk about it yet, but man, there's cool shit's coming on with Old Salt Coffee. So please, every bag of coffee you get with the code Trevino 10,
Trevino 10.
$1 goes to Helicopters for Heroes. We're trying to get you to get a subscription. I have tons of beautiful coins to give out. Please, please, please get your subscription so that I can get these coins out to you because they are absolutely beautiful. I was going to say, and speaking of coffee, I'm very proud. Those of you that live in New Braunfels,
Yes.
I'm very proud of my friend Jeff and Daniel for getting their coffee shop open.
Elixir Coffee and Tea.
Elixir Coffee and Tea.
Whatever they made me this morning was really yummy too.
Beautiful black and yellow building. Those guys, it is a mom and pop. So support those guys here in New Braunfels. I went by there this morning and I just really appreciate their friendship. And not to take away from our friends that own other coffee shops in town because we love them too. But we're just trying to give them a little push today because their grand opening was today.
Or it's their soft open. Yeah.
Yep. And then with that being said, anything else?
Nope, that's it. Just thank you. I'm glad we did this. I'm glad we sat around the table today.
Yeah, I know I missed you last week, and it is, it is amazing how much me and you have become us. I'm not anything without you, and you're everything without me. So. And
Love you.
do you know what? It's so funny how much you say I love you now that we called you out. This podcast has been emotionally.
I won't say it anymore.
I believe me, I know. This podcast has helped in so many ways. It's actually working. The therapy's working. Renae says the words "I love you." And by the way, oh my
Can we turn
God,
off the camera so I can go back to strangling you, please? I'm kidding.
Delilah. She's becoming a daddy's girl. And Daddy, come here. Daddy, this way. Daddy, hold my hand. Daddy, hugs. Daddy, take me to the dude, tea party. I'm having tea parties with my daughter, and then Renae comes around and she's like, ugh.
No, I'm not worried about it this morning. She had me put 3 bracelets on each wrist.
She's such a little girl.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been absolutely wonderful. And Rick, we missed you too, buddy. It was just one of those things where we missed a podcast because we were so busy. And then all of a sudden that happened. So the past 2 weeks, it's just been one of those
It's been a roller coaster. So thank you for sticking it out with us.
Yes.
Thanks for
we love
coming
you
back.
guys. Thank you so much. Please like, please share, please review. And please, we love the comments. We love that you guys continue to chime in. We are working on a Canadian tour. We are working on a European tour. We are working on Australia. I can't promise that it's going to happen in 23, but it is on the agenda. Like we
Yes.
are really, really working on.
You had a Canadian come to Austin.
I talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, to Austin too?
Yes, remember she came backstage with she
Oh,
gave us
yeah,
the
yeah,
card
yeah.
and we brought her backstage. That's a beautiful story.
Beautiful story.
We forgot to talk about that too, but that was awesome.
And I have so many challenge coins that I need to get out here and talk about, and I just haven't had time.
Yeah.
So I didn't forget about you guys at all. By the way, if you want to hang out with me at Helicopters for Heroes, it is the last weekend in February. Go to helicoptersforheroes.org, be a sponsor, come join us for an amazing weekend. The money that you spend with us goes to veterans. Me and my wife will be there. Renae, she won't be there as much as I am, but she will be there. And please, please, please help us help veterans. And again, Helicopters for Heroes so generously did something that they never do, and they helped pay for a veteran's funeral. My friend Eric Bustos. So those of you that know me and were asking me, well, how can we help? Help Helicopters for Heroes.
Yeah.
That's how you can help. Helicoptersforheroes.com.org. Please check us out. We love you guys. See you next time.